Hey everyone, FinTech here. Let's just get right into it. At the beginning of 2021, I made a video on how much money I made from YouTube as a small channel with just under 3,000 subscribers. Which, so no one thinks I'm trying to be clickbaity or drag things out, in that video came out to a total of $629.86 from YouTube Adsense. Which, being only a few months after I had just been monetized, I thought was a pretty good amount of money. Especially since I was just sharing videos on topics that I was interested in and probably would have been talking about with my friends anyway. Well, a few months after that, I made another video talking about how much I made in 1 month with a YouTube channel with 5,000 subscribers. And again, just to get straight to the point there, in total, in a month, I was making $460 from YouTube AdSense, which, since I was publishing around 8 videos per month around that time, meant that I was making over $50 per video that I was publishing on YouTube. But having that in mind, the numbers in this video literally blow those other 2 videos completely out of the water. Because between when I first started this YouTube channel around a year and a half ago and now, I've built the channel up to around 17,000 subscribers and 1 million total views. That's a number that I've obviously seen other big channels hit in the past, but I never really internalized that my own channel would ever reach that kind of number. So I just want to say I'm extremely grateful for everyone who watches these videos and for you watching right now. That's you right now behind the camera. And I hope the reason anyone watches this channel is because they get value from talking about personal finance, stock picks, and the investing news of the day. And so in the spirit of that, I want to make this video to show exactly how much money I've made from YouTube AdSense over the life of my channel and a total of 1 million views. Plus, I've just always really enjoyed watching videos like this from people like Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, Andre Jick. I just find this kind of stuff super inspiring and really interesting, and it's part of the reason why I decided to pursue YouTube more as a side business and not just as a hobby. In my first month making YouTube videos, I remember watching a video by TechLead where he showed how much money he made from making 1 million views on a single video. And I'll just tell you, that number came out to $4,700. And I remember thinking just how insane that was, that he got paid $5,000 for making a single video, and how I would have been happy getting $5,000 in an entire year just to pay for cameras and some lights and equipment and stuff. And along the same line, I remember watching a viral video from Shelby Church where she talked about how much she was paid for 1 million views on YouTube. And again, I'll just tell you, from one video where she got 2.2 million views, she earned $740. But from another video where she got 370,000 views, she got over $3,000. And that's just down to the different amounts that advertisers are willing to pay to advertise on different types of YouTube channels. But we'll talk about that later. Let's just jump into the analytics right now so I can show you how much I've made over the past year and a half. So if we pull up my analytics here, we can see that over the lifetime of my channel, I've gotten 974,300 views. Now, I know this isn't quite a million, but I wanted to get this video released as the first video in 2022, and the numbers are close enough that it doesn't really make a difference. And we can also see that that comes out to 82,000 total watch hours, which is absolutely insane to me, because I think this comes out to just over 9 years of total watch time. And if we go ahead and click the revenue tab, we can see that in total I made $13,213.52 over the past year and a half. And we can also see the chart here of how that played out over time. So for basically the first 6 months on this channel, I wasn't making any money at all because I wasn't monetized yet. But once I hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, that jumped up to around $10 to $15 per day for just the first month, before dropping down to around $4 or $5 per day. And then it increased kind of steadily through 2021 to the point where I was again making like $10 to $15 per day. On a really good day, I might get into the 20s. It was pretty stable for basically the entire year. Then in September and October, things really started to pick up. I went from making $15 a day to all of a sudden making $30 a day, then $40 a day. On this day, I somehow hit $60 a day. But then at the end of October and the start of November, things completely took off, where I was hitting $50, $60, $70, even $90 in a day. And by the time we got to November, I was passing $100 in a day, and at the very peak, I made over $200 in a single day off of YouTube. And since then, it's been relatively steady, earning around $100 per day since then. Now, just as a heads up, these numbers that I'm showing you, especially this $13,000 number here, could be doctored by someone who really wanted to do it. They could just click here and change the text that's on the webpage. So they could just add a 0 and it would show up like that here. So I'm gonna hit refresh so you can see that none of this is tampered with. This is just what's showing up from YouTube. And there you go, there's that $13,000 number. Now, something interesting we can do is we can break this down by the number of views by going into the advanced analytics. So on this day right here, I got 2,000 views, and that equated to just under $30 in revenue. And versus on another day here, for example, I was making 7,600 views in a day, which got me $88 in revenue. And at the very peak, I think that's the peak. Yeah, the peak here I got 18,200 views in a single day, and that was the day that paid out over $200 in YouTube AdSense, which is kind of crazy to think about because if you imagine this as if it was just a salary you were getting paid at a job, $206 divided by 8 hours comes out to an hourly wage of $25 an hour, which is way more than the average wage in the US just for making videos on YouTube. Now, whether or not those kind of numbers is sustainable is a different question. Obviously, it dropped off a lot from that peak, but it's been heading back up again, and I've been above around $100 since then. The thing is, YouTube is not nearly as stable as a regular job, so it's really hard to say if this number will stay as high as it is or if it'll drop back down again. But let's jump out of these numbers because there's a few things that I want to talk about. Now, one thing that I noticed is some of the types of videos that I publish will start getting just a few views at first, but then they'll basically keep on getting views at a pretty continuous rate forever going forward. So as I release more and more of these sort of evergreen videos, the floor for the lowest number of views I'll get on a daily basis kind of increases over time because those videos keep on performing. But then there are also sort of the flash in the pan videos that get a huge spike in views for maybe a few days or a week. And a lot of the time, these are videos covering like current events or stuff that's in the news right now. But then after 2 or 3 weeks, these videos basically aren't getting any views at all. But when I do get a video that kind of takes off and gets a ton of views in a few days, one thing I've noticed is it tends to push more views to other videos on my channel. I'm assuming because these videos are getting pushed out to an audience that doesn't usually watch me, and so if they watch the video, some percentage of them kind of see my other videos and watch some of those as well. So even though all my videos together did help contribute to that total 1 million views, there's a huge bias toward a couple really big videos that drove the majority of that. For example, the top 3 most viewed videos on my channel in total got around 200,000 views together, which adds up to 1/5 of the total views that I've had over the lifetime of my channel. And that's despite the fact that I've published like 160 videos over the past year and a half. Now, there are 2 points that I want to address. First off, that $13,000 number for 1 million views is way higher than most YouTubers are going to see. I know that there's some people who are probably going to watch this and then they're going to immediately log on to Social Blade and see that it says I should be making between $53 and $840 a month, even though in reality last month I earned around $3,000 a month. And that's just due to the way that YouTube advertisers pay out different rates to different creators. Social Blade is probably relatively accurate for vloggers, for example, but it completely underestimates personal finance or business channels. Basically, certain types of content, like say gaming content, just make a lot less money per 1,000 views than say makeup content, because the type of audience that watches gaming content tends to be younger, which kind of explains why personal finance and investing has one of the highest ad rates in the entire YouTube ecosystem. And that's because people who are watching investing videos tend to be over 18 years old, and they tend to have at least some spare money to invest. So advertisers are more willing to pay money to reach that audience than they are to pay to reach teenagers, for example. So whoever your favorite creators are, even if they're getting millions of views per video, the amount that they're getting paid out per view is completely different from the next YouTuber. And even just focusing on the type of content ignores other factors that can affect how much you're paid out as well, such as how long the video is, what percentage of the video people watch, how many ads you put into the video, and even whether or not the content is family friendly or if there's swearing or violence or anything like that. Now, the other thing I want to point out is that almost everybody who's watching my videos today is not subscribed, which is very different from how it's been in the past. This means that YouTube has started pushing my videos out to a wider audience that hasn't seen my content before, which is why if you go to my channel and sort by most popular, I have 10 videos with more views than I have subscribers, and 7 of those videos were published in just the last 2 months. In fact, ironically, if you look at those videos that have the most views, one of those videos covered how much money I made from building my own mobile app from scratch. And what actually ended up happening is I made more revenue from that video than I made from building the mobile app in the first place. That's just the beauty of YouTube, where you can monetize content and then monetize the fact that your content is monetized. Now, one other area you might be curious about is how all this channel growth has affected my number of patrons on Patreon, where some people just give me $1 to support the channel while others pay to see my real-time stock trades. Well, interestingly enough, my rate of Patreon signing up has not actually increased over the past couple months. It's basically been completely steady over that time. My theory here is that since a lot of my recent videos, especially the ones that have gotten a lot of views, are focused on either crypto or general stock market news, is that the audience for those videos just isn't as interested in my individual stock picks as, say, the audience that watched watched my videos on Zoom or Cloudflare or Datadog over the past year. Plus, a lot of new viewers who are watching my content now don't know me, they're not subscribed, they've probably only seen me once or twice in the recommended, so they don't really know what I'm about, and there's no reason for them to give me money. Which I think is totally fair, because I wouldn't give someone money who I just watched a random video of on the internet, and I have no idea if they're legit or not because I haven't really seen much about them. But it does show that there's still a core group of people watching this channel who have been watching since I was talking about Zoom in a hotel room or when I was filming in my kitchen before I built this backdrop here. So to that group in particular, I just want to say thank you for watching over the past year. I know the channel's been growing a lot recently, and I hope that it keeps on growing, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that it would not be where it is today if it weren't for you being there in the first place. So thank you. And for everyone else, if you've watched this far in the video and maybe this is the first video you've seen from me, go ahead and check out some other videos on this channel. You might enjoy the one I made on how much money I made from building my own mobile app from scratch. It's an old one, but it's a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.